Hi guys, my name is Bilikis and you're welcome to my channel, and it feels so good to be back home after a long holiday. I met some of my fans and they were wonderful and I felt so honored. And what do you think we can do about our subscribers? We need to get the numbers up. That is why you need to like the video, share it and subscribe, and you could tell your friends about it. And if you're watching me for the first time, you need to hit the red button right down there. Yes, because you don't want to miss out on any tutorials anymore. And guess what? Today I will be making a mermaid skirt, which will be of 6 panels. A mermaid skirt could be of 4 panels, 6 panels, or 8 panels. But today I will be making a mermaid skirt of 6 panels, which we also call 6 pieces skirt. So now let's go over to the work table and do some mathematics and cut our fabric. So this is what a mermaid skirt looks like. This is for the front and this is for the back. You can decide to have a band, which is optional. You can also decide not to have a band. You could have a zipper or an elastic. So you can see it's come all through from the waist down to the hip, and then it goes inward on the knee area and then come out again. And this is for the back. You can see we also have 3 panels at the back, but this middle panel will be divided into 2 because it will have the zipper, except you want your zipper to be by the side, so it will be exactly like the front. So to do some simple calculations, for my horizontal measurement, which is across my body, my waist measurement is 36 and my hip measurement is 34, and then vertically, that is, so for my vertical measurement, my waist to my hip measurement, that is along my body, is 8 inches. My knee length is 18 inches. It's advisable for you to come up by 1 inch or 1.5 inch above your knee length because you want to be able to walk freely. So I'm using 18 inches, and for my skirt length, it will be 43. So now, like normal division would do when you are folding your fabric. So in this case, I'll be dividing my circumferences by 12 by 12. Why? Because looking at this, we have 3 for the front, 3 for the back, so it should be 6. But if you've watched my video over time, in most cases when I'm drafting, it will be on fold. So if we divide it by 6, since it will be on fold, we can't just draft it this way. It will give us a little problem. So it will be on fold. That will be divided by 2 again. So that means we'll be dividing it by 12. And that is the reason why we'll be dividing it by 12. So here for my waist measurement, which is 36 inches, divided by 2 will be 3 inches. And then it is good you had your seam allowance, so that when you cut, all you have to do is to sew it up. So 3 inches plus half an inch for the seam allowance, that will give me 3.5 inches. So this is what I'll be using for my waist measurement, 3.5 inches. So for my hip measurement now, which is 44, I'll also divide it by 12. So 44 divided by 12 would give me 3.7 inches. And when I had my seam allowance of ½ inch, it will be 4.2 inches. So, and then when I round this up, because that's 4.2, I'll just round it up to 4.25. But if you want a perfect fit, you should be using 4.2. So on your tape measure, that will be 4, then this small dotted line, 1, 2. So your 4.2 will be here. But I rounded it up to 4.25, which will be here, 4.25. So that is it on that. Another thing I have to call your attention to is this. Like here now for the skirt, I want a band height of 1.5 inches. 1.5 inches. And note I said my skirt length is 43 inches. So I have to remove this band height from this 43 inches, which will give me 41.5. So that after joining to my band, then it will become 43 again. So that means when I'm drafting my skirt, I'll be using 41.5 inches. And also again, I said from my waist to my hip is 8 inches. And I want a band height of 1.5. So that means I have to remove this also from this 8 inches, in which I will have 6.5 inches. So from my waist to my hip will be 6.5 inches. So when I join it back to my band, then I will have my 8 inches again. You have to understand that. And for the knee length, I already mentioned that you should come more above by 1 inch or 1.5, because you want to be able to walk freely. Since we have talked about the waist, hip, and the knee length, for this flare part, we need to know the distance from here to here to bring out the flare shape. So now, when our fabric is unfold, we have something like this. So we insert our waist, hip, knee length, and then this is the skirt length. So we need to determine the length from here to here in which to shape our flare. So all you have to do is to double your divided hip measurement. You can either double it, that is the minimum you could do. You could multiply by 2.5. You could even go as far as multiplying by 3 inches. Like from my own divided hip measurement, I have 4.25. So like for me, I want it to be full. So I will be multiplying by 2.5. That is double and half of my divided waist measurement. So once I multiply this 4.25 by 2, I will be getting 10.6. So I can just make do with 10. So that means on the folded fabric, from here to here will be 10 inches. We already got our divided waist measurement, which is 3.25, hip 4.25, knee length, you just have to come in by half an inch or 1 inch. Then for the flare, I will be using my divided hip measurement multiplied by 2.5, which gave me 10 inches, in which I will be using. So now let's cut our fabric. So I'll be using this beautiful fabric to cut my 6-panel or 6 pieces dress. So this lighter shade will be for the upper part and this will be for the lower part. And then my fabric is by 45. So that means it will be able to accommodate my skirt length. So while folding, if you notice, I said my hip measurement was multiplied by 2.5, which gave me 10.6. So in which I will be using 10 inches on fold. So what we need for a 6-panel dress is to get the middle piece first. With this middle piece, it is as good as done. So now, since I will be using 10 inches on fold for my flare, so all I have to do is to take my tape measure and measure 10 inches out. So here I have 10 inches. So my fold will be from here. Can you see that? So, but because I'll be using a blue chalk, so I'll be marking on the wrong side of the fabric. So now I've folded my fabric for 10 inches. Remember, on the paper we are using 10 inches on fold. So now I'll just measure how to see if I'm correct. So here I have 10 inches on fold. So now to start marking out our measurement. So first I will go about my vertical measurement. So first I will just come down by 1 inch. So this is more than enough for my skirt length. So I want it to be full. So in case when I'm on heels, it will still be flowing. So I'll just come down by 1 inch here, 1 inch here, and then draw a straight line. So this will be the starting point for my skirt. So after doing that, then I go through my vertical measurement. So from here to my hip, I'll be using 6.5 inches. Remember, it is 8 inches, but because I'll be having a band height of 1.5 inches, I will make it 6.5. So 6.5. Then to my nail length, which is 18. My knee length is 19, but because I'll be having a band height, so that was why I removed from it, so I'll be using 18. So on the average, your knee length is between 17 and 19. So here I'll be using 18, which is here. And then The rest will be for my skirt length. So now I will draw a straight line. I'm using my T-square to get an accurate straight line. So after mapping out our lines, then now we can insert our divided horizontal measurement. So starting from the waist, here our divided waist measurement is 3.5. So I'll take my tape measure and insert 3.5. This is 3.5. Seam allowance has been included, so it was actually 3, then ½ inch for sewing allowance. So after doing that, then I'll go to my hip area. My divided hip measurement is 4.25. So 4.25 I have here is this. Then I'll go to my nail area. So what you have to do, if you've watched my previous video on how to make a basic skirt, so this nail area, you could come in by ½ inch, 1 inch, or even 1.5. But it depends on how curvy you are. But if this difference between your waist and your hip is not so much, you could just come in by ½ inch, because you don't want it to look funny and you are unable to walk. But if you are very curvy, maybe for instance your waist is 3.5 and you have a hip of 5 inches, then you could come in 1 inch or 1.5. So you have to understand your body structure. So here 4.25. So here I will come in by ½ inch. 3.75, which is 3.75, because my divided hip is 4.25. So when I remove ½ inch from that, it will give me 3.75, which is 3.75, which is here. So then I will join the point. So with my hip curve, I will join from my hip down to from my waist down to my hip. After joining that, if it's actually a curvy person, you can use the edge of this hip curve and join it this way to give that shapy curve. But since I'm not so curvy, I'll just take my pant curve. You could use a straight ruler, but this side of my pant curve is straight, so, and I'll just join it together. Can you see that we are done with the upper part? Make sure this area is curvy. So after doing that, then we'll go to the lower part of the skirt. Since we have measured out how wide we want the end of the skirt to be, we will multiply our divided hip by 2.5. I said the minimum you could do is multiply it by 2, but you could go far as multiplying it by 2.5 or even 3. But the minimum you should do should be 2 inches. So now we'll go to the end of the skirt. So all you have to do is take a straight ruler and then join from this point, the nail area, and then to the edge of the 10 inches point where the fabric is. So just join it this way, and then your middle panel is formed. So we are as good as done. And you might be wondering, what if I want to calculate the how many inches or how many centimeter I want of fabric in which I'll be using? Like now, on folded, my fabric is folded, so here I have 10 inches. When I open up, that is 20. But on a folded fabric like this, we are using 10 inches. And remember, we divided all our measurement by 12. So all you have to do is to multiply 10 inches by 12. You'll be having 120 inches. And note, for the back, you'll be needing the same allowance for the zip, for your zipper, which is 2 inches. So that will be 120 plus 2 inches, which will give you 122. So maybe for mistake or for allowances, you can just cut a fabric of 123 or 124, but you actually need a fabric of 122 inches. So now we'll be cutting out the middle piece. Can you see? It is so easy. So, and for the upper part, you will need seam allowance. Just add 1/2 inch to the upper part. So this part is where you join to the band. If you've been watching my video, you'll be used to that by now. And our middle panel is formed. Let me show you. So can you see that? Can you see that? So lovely. Can you see the waist area, the hip, the nail length, and then the flare? So we'll use this to cut all other panels. And all you have to do after cutting is just to join, and you have your mermaid skirt. So now let's cut the other part. So now we'll be folding our fabric again. Remember, 10 inches on fold at the lower part. So I'll just take my fabric and then fold over to get 10 inches here. But I will be cutting both the sides together. So in that case, to make it easier for you, all you have to do, so now I'll be making 20 inches on fold because I want to cut both sides of the panel together. So now, because when you look at this that we've cut out, this is 10 inch on fold. So when you open it up, that means we have 20 here. So now, because I want to cut out 2 side panels together, all I have to do is to fold over by 20. So make sure the lower part is, ignore the upper part. So just measure it out. So here I have 20. So that means it's okay. So 24, this upper part, and 20 here. So then I will fold again to make 10 because I want to cut 2 together. So I have 20, 20. So when I fold, then I have 10. So then I will fold this way. Make sure right sides are facing each other. So now, after folding 20, I measured out 20 inches and then unfold for each panel because I'm cutting 2 panels together. Then after folding that, then I folded in 2 again, right sides facing each other. Then I'll just measure out. Yeah, then I have 10. So all I have to do is to place this middle panel, which I have cut out before, and place it on it. Then cut out. We are done with the front part. You could pin it if it's giving you problem, but this is a cotton material, so it's not really a problem. So after placing it on the fabric, then all we have to do now is to cut out. But note, you have to note this knee area point and also the hip point. Then I'll show you another method in which you can note it out. So then I'll start cutting. And go a little bit curvy at the nail area and also at the hip area. You see that we are done. Then a easy way for you to note the hip area and the knee point area is just pick it up this way and notch. Can you see that? Then notch. Can you see? Go to the hip area, pick it up, then notch. So it will be easier for us to note that area. So now I'll remove the side panel in which I used to cut it out. And then, can you see this? we have 2 panels. Can you see that? Can you see that? So easy to make. Can you see that? So now, for the side panel, like when you have a mermaid skirt, like from this picture, you can see this part, that is the side. This is the middle and these are the side. This place goes in most. So that is where the shape comes in. So you want to have your hip protruding, then goes in at the knee area and then come out. So I would just advise you to come in by one of the side. But remember, we are having right side facing each other. So after opening it up this way, then since we know the knee point area, you can just draw a straight line to make it easy for us to see and understand. Where is it above? So can you see it's easier now? So I will just use my tape and then come in by half an inch. You could do 1 inch, but for me I'll just do half an inch, but you could do 1 inch, or maybe we should just do 3/4 this way. There's no principle guiding this. It depends on you and how curvy you have. If you are so much curvy, you could come in by 1.5, 1 inch, but I will just do a 3/4 and you could do half an inch also. So on the side, I'll be coming in 3/4 inch, that is 3/4. Then I'll just take my ruler. You could use your hip curve if you are someone that is very, very curvy. Just use the end of your hip curve and then join it together this way. Can you see that? Then this part will be going off. And then I'll take my ruler and then from this 3/4 point, and then I'll mark it all the way down to the edge. Can you see that? So this will be going up. That is what will give that shapeful effect. So now, after cutting it off, can you see? When looking at it, you see this is more shapeful than this part. So now I'll open it up for you to see. So this is one side, this is one side, and then I'll place in the middle panel. So can you see that now? Can you see? So when you sew, this place comes this way. When you sew in the 1/2 inch, make sure the notches matches each other, and then it goes this way, and then this way. So this will be the flare. Can you see that? And can you see the side? It comes in more at the side. Can you see? So this is how to make a 6-panel dress skirt. So now we will go to the back. So we'll be using all this also to cut the back panels. Again, I'll take the rest of my fabric and fold again. Remember, we are always folding by 10 inches. But this time around, because I'm making a panel for the middle part of the back, and this is where the zipper will be. If you are not having a zipper, maybe you want your zipper by the side, fold on 10. But this time around, I'll be folding by 11 because I want 1 inch seam allowance on both sides of my skirt. But maybe you want 1/2 inch seam allowance, it is okay, but I'll just make do with 1 inch. So I'll be folding by 11. So I'll take my tape. Make sure you measure the end of your fabric, because there's no way we could manage our fabric here due to the pattern, because we have a different shade here, a different shade here. So I'll just place my tape here and measure 11. This is 11, and then I will fold over. So now Let me check my fold again. Yes, very good. I have 11 inches. So to make it easier for you to understand and see it, I could just mark out the 1 inch all through and then draw a straight line so you could understand more. So now this is the 1 inch seam allowance for the zipper. So when we measure this now, we have 10 inches. So that means we are on track. Then you take the middle panel of the front panels in which we have cut out and then place on the fabric in which you have folded, starting from the lower part. After the seam allowance you left for the zipper, you could pin it down. If it's giving you trouble, maybe you are using shaky material like satin or chiffon, so you need to be careful, or just pin it down. So after placing it on it this way, then I will cut out. And then we are done. Then don't forget to notch. This is the knee area and this is the hip area. So, and that is it for the back panel for the back. So then we'll open up this part. Before doing that, you might want your back, that is your back side, to be more prominent. It is easier to do. All you have to do is, since we know the knee length area now, this is optional, but if you want it to be more fitted and for your back side to protrude and be obvious, just draw a straight line. Then what will you do? Just come in by half an inch. This is it. This is half an inch. And then from your hip, just come down by 2 inches. That is wherever your zipper will stop. So from your hip area, just come down by 2 inches, which is, this is my hip area. 2 inches is around here. So once you've come down, just join it to the 1 inch in which we went inside and then outside this way. So I'll just use this side of my pan curve to just connect the line this way. Can you see that? After mapping that out, then just join it to the, so we'll be cutting this out. Or better still, you could just join this half an inch point to this place, but this is just okay, just map it out. Then this will be cut off. So now your new seam allowance for your zipper will now be from here. So 1 inch inward. Remember we took half an inch from this seam allowance, so we need to replace it back. So now from this half inch, you go inward by 1 inch. So this will be your new seam allowance in which you will join to the edge of this part. Let me draw it out before cutting. So we reconstruct back to this place. This is optional. If you are somebody that doesn't have so much backside, you can ignore this part. So this is our new seam line, and then also this, just join. Then where it ended here, 1 inch, and then this way. So then we can cut out. First we can just cut this out. So after doing that, I can open it up. So now after opening it up, this is what it will look like. This is the back. Can you see that? Let me show the right side so you can see the beauty of it. Can you see that? So after attaching your zipper and then taking in the seam allowance, you have something like this. Can you see that? So this is the middle panel for the back pattern. Can you see that? So this will become more obvious or prominent. So now let's go to the side panel. So now I'll take the rest of my fabric again and fold by 20. Remember, again, we'll be cutting 2 pieces together. So just fold by 20. So I will measure out my fabric. So now I've folded my fabric and I have 20. Right side facing each other. So for easier way to cut, since the side panel, one side is deeper than the other. Let me show you. Can you see this is the side and this is the one that will join the middle part. So since one is deeper and the other one is the normal middle part, all you have to do, instead of folding again to have 10, just leave it folded by 20 and just place this on it. Can you see that? Just place this on it. And then make sure this edge matches up with it, because when it's open it is 20. So once you have this, just take your scissors and cut through. So it will save you the stress of opening up and then cutting one part deeper. So now I'll just take my scissors and then I'll start cutting. So go in a curvy manner around the knee area. I haven't cut up this side, then I go to this other side again and cut. And then I'm through. You see that? This is one of the side for the front, which I'll put away, and then I will show you the back panel. So now this is it on the back panel. So after taking in half an inch here, can you see? Half an inch here. So here will be 1 inch on each side for the zipper allowance. After taking in this, then also here for ½ inch here also. Can you see? After doing all that, then you have your fitted 6-panel dress, and then you join the flares together. So that's how to sew it. Just take ½ inch, sew on the wrong side. Here for the middle part, 1 inch for the zipper allowance, and also here ½ inch. And after doing that, then you join with the front panel, and then that is it on how to cut 6 pieces skirt or a mermaid skirt. And for the so this is the front panel again. All you have to do also is to sew in ½ inch on the wrong side of each pattern. And after doing that, you just sew using my method on how to sew a pencil skirt, in which I will put the link in the description below. It is just the same process after joining all these panels together. And after sewing this front panel, you want to make it this way. After sewing it, then you have something like this. I explained that also in my pencil skirt tutorial. After joining all the panels, then fold into 2 this way. So you have something like this, like a normal basic skirt. Then all you have to do is come down by 1 inch. Come down by 1 inch here, and then join in a straight line to the edge of these parts before attaching your band. So you have something like this. So you cut this because it is the abdomen area. So after joining all the panels, fold it into 2, then come down by 1 inch, join it to the edge of this part, and then cut it off. Then you can add your band. And that is just it on how to cut a 6 pieces dress. And that is just it on how to cut a 6 pieces skirt. So you can just give it a try at home and let me know the outcome. So if my tutorial has been helpful, give me a thumbs up, share my video, and do not forget to subscribe. And also join us on Facebook, Sewing Innovation. It's a closed group where we put up illustration on some question asked about some outfit. So catch you guys later.